Good evening, everybody, and I am here tonight to tell you a little bit about my story and my experience with autoimmune disease. I actually have a kidney autoimmune disease. I have been diagnosed for just a few years, and I've had symptoms of it for 6 years. So it's something that I've experienced many peaks and valleys with, and I wanted to share some of my insights. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Pamela Bussarello. I am a mom of 3. I am a health and fitness coach. I'm a full-time high school English teacher, though it is summertime, and I'm the face behind To Fit a Motherhood. So what is this autoimmune disease I have, and how did I find out? Well, first off, the autoimmune disease that I was diagnosed with is called IgA nephropathy. And by definition, IgA nephropathy is when a protein of sorts, it's actually called, I can never pronounce it, immunoglobulin A, it lodges in your kidneys, and your kidneys aren't able to process or flush it out like they should. So if you get some sort of minor ailment, it could be strep throat, it could be a stomach virus, it could be, I had symptoms of this when I had mastitis when I was a nursing mom. Your body, your immune system detects something in your kidneys that's a little off. And when it does that, then your immune system, when it goes to fight that infection, let's say it's strep throat, part of your immune system is fighting that infection and the other part is fighting your kidneys. It creates a lot of inflammation, which leads to pain, and it also creates whatever ailment you have to last a super long time. So I was experiencing the strangest of symptoms and the strangest of things that were just lingering, and I didn't quite understand it. And this went on for a very long time. The first instance of this was when my daughter was almost a year old. It was in early September. It was actually Labor Day weekend, and we had gone out to dinner with my husband's family for his sister's birthday. We went out to this awesome steak dinner. It was delicious. Hi, Mindy. Thanks for watching. Or I guess she was just shy of 11 going bad. And I had this wonderful dinner, and the next morning I woke up and I thought, oh my gosh, I have the worst indigestion. I had terrible cramps. I had this pain in my side that would not go away. And so I came downstairs, the shore house we were staying in with my in-laws, and I was like, is anyone else feeling a little funky? And my mother-in-law wasn't feeling great either. So I thought, okay, it must have been something we ate, which was weird. We ate at this beautiful, highly, highly rated steakhouse, kind of strange, but we didn't even order the same thing. But I was like, all right, whatever. Just bathroom issues, right? I do have IBS, so it was something I wasn't unfamiliar with, but this was just a very strange pain. Well, fast forward to the next day. Now I've gone through a whole day of discomfort, night of discomfort. The next day, nothing. It felt like the worst gas pain of my life. I'm sorry if that's TMI for anybody. So I remember taking Kaden for walk after walk after walk. Okay, Kaden. Okay, that's wonderful. And trying to get things to move and to get some gas. It's not wonderful, I'm sorry. Some of her treats broke that she had outside from the storm. Nothing was happening, and I thought to myself, I think this is my appendix. I think I have appendicitis. I called my mom, who had her appendix removed, and she's like, no, you'd be in such agony. You wouldn't be able to be walking your daughter around. She's telling me about referred pain, this release pain you get when you push on it and let go. I wasn't having any of that. So now the next day comes around, and it's the first day of school. So I go to my first day of school, and I'm still feeling this pain. And if anyone knows me, I am still smiling and pretending like I'm not in this pain. And all I remember is getting to my cafeteria duty at the high school where I teach and talking to 2 of my colleagues and suddenly doubling over in pain. And I thought, this is what my mom was talking about. So my husband takes me to the doctor, and they do some blood work and stuff at the doctor, and they also have me give a urine test, a urine sample. So I give the urine sample, and I'm gonna get really TMI here, and I'm in a lot of pain, and I noticed that my urine looked like Coca-Cola, okay? There's no other way around it. It looked like Coca-Cola, and I thought, this is not right. So I bring it out to the woman who asked me to get this test. I'm like, this isn't looking too good. She goes, oh, we just need to make sure you're not pregnant to do the CAT scan to check for the appendicitis. You don't need to worry about what your urine looks like. I'm like, I kind of feel like I do. So she does it, she dumps it. No pregnancy. They send me for the scan. Sure enough, yes, my appendix is inflamed. So they get me right to the emergency room. They're going to do an emergency appendectomy. I get there and the ER doctor says, hold on, we have to just double check that you're not pregnant before we do this surgery. Okay, I'm not, but whatever. They have me urinate again into a cup. Again, Coca-Cola. Again, I say something to the nurse. She goes, we're just checking the pregnancy test. Well, luckily, another nurse happened to see it and thought that this isn't really good. And they detected a high level of blood as well as protein in my urine. Blood in your urine is called hematuria. So this was something I was experiencing. So they're about to wheel me in to prep me for surgery, and the ER doctor comes out and he says, no, we can't do this. There's something else that's wrong. This isn't caused by appendicitis, so we need to figure this out. They send me for ultrasounds of my pelvis, ultrasounds of my chest, ultrasounds around the world, right? I think I don't remember if it was that time I had an MRI. I had so many things. I was so dehydrated because they kept taking blood from me, and I wasn't allowed to eat in case I was getting a surgery, and I hadn't eaten that day anyway because I didn't feel so good. Waiting. They pretty much think that I have kidney stones. It's the only thing they can think of. They notice that the blood is originating from my kidneys. So this is on, I forget what day of the week. I think it was on a Tuesday that I first went to the doctor, and it was on Friday that they finally got me into the ER agreeing that this was appendicitis. So I had had this experience for almost a week. Now on Friday they say we can't do the surgery, we have to wait, figure out what's wrong, they think it's kidney stones. So now they send me to get some more scans, and they say we're going to admit you and we just have to wait for these stones to pass, and then we'll be able to do the surgery. Next day, still having hematuria. Next day, still having hematuria. Now I've been in the hospital for 3 days. It's Sunday. Have not been able to see my daughter, who's not yet a year old. I had been nursing her still. It completely dried me up. I was so dehydrated. I couldn't even pump. Nothing would come out. I was just getting more and more distraught, and my urine still looked like Coca-Cola. No matter how many IVs they were plugging into me, it didn't matter. I wasn't allowed to eat any solid foods. I was just miserable. Finally, the doctor did another ultrasound. They're not showing any kidney stones. I'm still experiencing this awful pain. They decide on September 11th, I'll always remember that they're going to do this surgery, get my appendix out. So they go in, they take my appendix out. Wonderful, great, that is better. I had a super slow recovery, and it was a laparoscopic surgery. It is not a big deal. I mean, it's a surgery, a big, massive surgery. They're removing an organ, but it's not that big of a deal, and it should be a pretty quick recovery. I was down and out for a week. I had such pain. I had constant blood in my urine. Something else was definitely wrong. We couldn't quite figure it out. But I ended up missing an entire week of school. This was all the first week of school. Missed like a week and a half. Completely a mess. So about 5 or 6 months later, I, was just living life, having my baby, being at school, and I ended up with strep throat. And at this point now, I am pregnant, so they don't have to test my pregnancy, my blood or my urine anymore for that. But I had strep throat, and as soon as I got home from the doctor for getting diagnosed with strep throat, I noticed blood in my urine. And my strep throat was not responding to my medication. And a week or two goes by, and I still have strep throat pain, and I still have some blood in my urine. And not only that, but I started to discover I had a rash right here on my wrist, this random little rash. And the more I thought about it, I've had this rash pop up every once in a while for the past probably 10 years. I used to wear a watch. My husband got me a Coach watch when we were in college, this whatever, metal watch, I don't know, silver or whatever, watch. And I always assumed it was from the watch that I would get this rash. So I stopped wearing it. I haven't worn a watch ever since. But the more I thought about it, I said, you know what? It seems like when I'm sick, I get this rash. And now I'm noticing when I'm sick, I start getting visible blood in my urine. Like, this is weird. I was in my 20s at the time. Like, this shouldn't be happening. So what I started to do is keep track. I requested all of my blood work. I have my labs from every time I've had labs done since this started. I have them all organized. And I started to keep a notebook of my symptoms. I started to write down dates and whatever it was that I was experiencing. If I went to the doctor and had more stuff done, I've put their report in here. I also have copies of, on like discs, all of the images that I have had done. I have quite a few of these. And I started to keep track. And this went on for almost 2 years. I went through my second pregnancy. I had Paxton, and it was the next summer after he was born, so he was almost a year old, where I realized this was getting debilitating. I would have, a stomach virus, and it would last for, I don't know what, I just bopped the screen and it made me all fancy looking. I don't know what's going on here, I apologize. I had a stomach bug that lasted for months. I don't really know what the deal was. Sorry, I hit a filter by mistake. And it lasted for months. I ended up in the hospital quite a few times, and every time they'd say, you must have kidney stones. We're not really sure what's going on, but you got this blood in your urine. It's originating from your kidneys. We're not sure what's going on. But this one final trip to the doctor with this stomach bug that had me doubling over in pain, it was awful. And I can't tell you, but there's something, I have become, people tease me about this, but if I go to the bathroom, I check it, right? Like I turn around and I look at it. And without fail, in those 2 years leading up to this, every single time I wasn't feeling good, sneeze, cough, cold, stomach virus, whatever, if I went to the bathroom, my blood was there, visibly. I mean, I could just see it. I could tell. And I would notice it would get a little frothy. Again, this is so TMI, but there would be protein in it, which I could learn to tell. So I kept track of it. And it was at the end of the school year, it was about June, and I ended up missing graduation. I was supposed to work graduation because they thought I had kidney stones again. I was in such severe pain again. They had me in the doctor, they did a scan, they saw kidney stones. They referred me to a urologist. Go to the urologist, he reviews the scans, he goes, there are no kidney stones here. I think the ER doctors just needed something. They needed to grasp with something. So he did, did a scope, right? I had like a scope of my urethra and the urethral tract. I was recommended to a gastroenterologist, and I had an endoscopy. I had cultures taken both during the scope and during the endoscopy, and it showed in the scope that the blood was not originating from my urethra or from my bladder, but it was in the kidneys, which is out of his realm. The gastroenterologist noticed that yes, I had severe gastritis, but that was from this stomach bug not healing. It really wasn't causing anything. It was a byproduct. It was kind of like happening simultaneously, I should say, of this weird kidney symptom. So I was out to dinner with my husband's extended family one evening, and we have a pediatrician in the family whom we love so much. And I was telling him, he had been, kind of kept on top of this, and I was telling him, listen, I've got this binder of stuff. Something is wrong. They keep telling me it's kidney stones. I've yet to ever pass a damn stone. I just don't know what to do, and I am losing weight. I couldn't eat. I mean, I probably had gastritis at this point. It was probably July, for 4 or 5 weeks. And with gastritis, it's like a very severe inflammation in your esophagus and down to your stomach. It feels like you have indigestion all the time. I was really strict with my nursing as well. With Paxton, he wasn't good with formula. He really wouldn't take it. So I refused any medications that I couldn't take while I was breastfeeding him. So, people were getting upset with me because they were like, you need to take care of yourself. But to me, his health mattered more than mine at that time. And so I was refusing any medications, and I said, I don't want medications, I just want to know what's wrong, because this doesn't make any sense. Like, I can't have a stomach bug one day and it turns into gastritis. I'm a healthy, so I thought, 20-something-year-old person. How is this happening? So I'm out to dinner and I'm telling Syriac all about this, and he says, listen, I want you to write this down, because I had an appointment with a kidney doctor finally. I want you to write down these 2 diseases. And I forget what the one was, but the other one was IgA nephropathy. He's like, I really think it's one of these 2 things. The rash, the blood in the urine, the protein in the urine. And I would get real bad pain. And I always thought, I'm like, the way I would describe it is, if I had my appendix, I'd imagine I had appendicitis. I just keep getting pain here. And he's like, it's probably kidney pain. So I go see a nephrologist, and before I could say anything, she's reviewed everything. I've got my binder, they've sent all of the images, I've got years worth of data to show her. She takes it into her office, skims through it in a bit, and then comes and talks to me. And before I could even say what Syriac told me to say, she goes, you know what, hun? This is IgA nephropathy. I was like, what? Like, I felt such relief. And at that point, I had already done the WebMDing. I had already Googled it. It's not a great thing. It's not a great disease to have. But there was such a sense of relief to know that I knew what this was and that someone could tell me what this was. And she looks at me and she goes, you know what, though? I have never treated someone this young. I have never treated someone at this stage. The only person I've treated, or the patients I've treated with IgA nephropathy, are in kidney failure. They don't even know they have IgA nephropathy because they haven't paid attention to these symptoms, because, as I was saying, they happen in conjunction with something else. It's not like I wake up one day feeling great and have visible blood in my urine. It's not like I wake up one day and have this ridiculous rash. It's always in conjunction with